Frankfurt Airport is a major international airport located in Frankfurt, the fifth largest city of Germany and one of the world's leading financial centers. It is operated by Fraport and serves as the main hub for Lufthansa, including Lufthansa CityLine and Lufthansa Cargo, as well as Condor and AeroLogic. The airport covers an area of 21 square kilometers of land and features two passenger terminals with a capacity of approximately 65 million passengers per year, 4 runways and extensive logistics facilities. Frankfurt Airport is by far the busiest airport by passenger traffic in Germany, the third busiest in Europe after London Heathrow Airport and Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, and the 12th busiest worldwide in 2013. It handled 58 million passengers in 2013. With a freight throughput of 2.09 million metric tons in 2013, it is also the busiest airport in Europe by cargo traffic. As of winter 2012/2013, Frankfurt Airport served 264 destinations in 113 countries, making it the airport with the most international destinations in the world. The southern side of the airport ground was home to the Rhein-Main Air Base, which was a major air base for the United States from 1947 until 2005, when the air base was closed and the property was acquired by Fraport. Location: Frankfurt Airport lies 12 km southwest of central Frankfurt, near the Autobahn intersection Frankfurter-Kreuz, where two of the most heavily used motorways in Europe meet. The airport ground, which forms a city district of Frankfurt named Frankfurt Flughafen, is surrounded by the Frankfurt City Forest. The airport is centrally located in the Frankfurt Rhein-Main region, Germany's second-largest metropolitan region, which itself is a central location in the densely populated region of the West Central European megalopolis. Thereby, along with a strong rail and motorway connection, the airport serves as a major transportation hub to the greater region, less than 2 hours by ground to Cologne, the Ruhr area, and Stuttgart. History: First airport. On November 16, 1909, the world's first airline was founded in Frankfurt am Main, the Deutsche Luftfahrzeuggesellschaft. DELAG then built the first airport in Frankfurt, called Airship Base at Rebstock, which was located in Bockenheim in the western part of the city and was primarily used for airships in the beginning. It opened in 1912 and was extended after World War I, but in 1924 an expert's report already questioned the possibility of further expansions at this location. With the foundation of Deutsche Lufthansa in 1926, a rapid boom of civilian air travel started and soon the airship base became too small to handle the demand. Plans for a new and larger airport located in the Frankfurt city forest southwest of Schönheim were approved in 1930, but were not realized due to the Great Depression. After the Machtergreifung in 1933, the government revived the plans and started the construction of the new airport. Second airport, the Frankfurt Rhein-Main Airport and Airship Base, was officially opened on July 8, 1936. In the following years it became the second largest airport in Germany and was home for the two largest German Zeppelins, LZ-127 Graf Zeppelin and LZ-129 Hindenburg. It was planned to make Frankfurt the most important destination for Zeppelins in Germany, but after the catastrophic crash of the Hindenburg in Lakehurst on May 6, 1937, the airship era came to an abrupt end. World War II. After the beginning of World War II in 1939, all foreign airlines left the airport and control of air traffic was transferred to the Luftwaffe. On May 9, 1940, the first bombers took off to attack France. From August to November 1944, a concentration camp was established in Waldorf, close to the airport ground, where Jewish female prisoners were forced to work for the airport. The Allies of World War II destroyed the runway system with airstrikes in 1944 and the Wehrmacht blew up buildings and fuel depots in 1945, shortly before the U.S. Army took control of the airport on March 25, 1945. After the German instrument of surrender, the war in Europe ended and the U.S. Army started to build a new temporary runway at Frankfurt Airport. The southern part of the airport ground was occupied to build the Rhein-Main Air Base as an Air Force base for the United States Air Forces in Europe. Berlin Airlift. In 1948 the Soviet Union blocked the Western Allies' railway and road access to the sectors of West Berlin under Allied control. Their aim was to force the Western powers to allow the Soviet zone to start supplying Berlin with food and fuel, thereby giving the Soviets practical control over the entire city. In response, the Western Allies organized the Berlin Airlift to carry supplies via air to the people in West Berlin. The airports in Frankfurt, Hamburg and Hanover were the primary bases for the Allied airplanes. The heavy use of these so-called Raisin bombers caused damage to the runway in Frankfurt and forced the U.S. Army to build a second parallel runway. The airlift ended in September 1949 after the Soviet Union ended their blockade. Growth of the airport. In 1951 restrictions for German air travelers were lifted and civil air traffic started to grow again. In 1952 Frankfurt Airport handled more than 400,000 passengers. A year later it was more than 500,000. About 100 to 120 planes took off from and landed in Frankfurt daily. In 1955, Lufthansa finally recommenced their flights to and from Frankfurt, and in the same year the Federal Republic of Germany gained its air sovereignty back from the Allies. In 1957 the northern runway was extended, first to 3,000 meters and then to 3,900 meters, to make it compatible with jet aircraft. The airport did not emerge as a major international airline hub until 1958 when a new passenger terminal called Empfangsanlageost opened in the northeast corner of the airport ground. Only 4 years later it was clear that the terminal was already too small for the demand. In 1961 Frankfurt already had 2.2 million passengers and 81,000 takeoffs and landings, making it the second busiest airport in Europe behind London Heathrow Airport. In 1962 it was decided to build an even larger terminal with a capacity of 30 million passengers per year. Work on this terminal began in 1965. The southern runway was extended to 3,750 meters in 1964. In 1970 a new airplane hangar was inaugurated. It accommodated 6 jet airplanes and was the world's largest airplane hangar at the time. The new main terminal. The new terminal, called Terminal MIT and divided into 3 concourses with 56 gates and an electric baggage handling system, was opened to the public on March 14, 1972. It was assumed that the terminal capacity would be sufficient for the next 30 years. Along with the new terminal a train station was opened, the first airport train station in the Federal Republic of Germany. A few days later the old Empfangsanlageost was closed. The third runway, planning for a third runway began in 1973. This project spawned massive protests by residents and environmentalists. The main points of conflict were increasing noise and pollution and the cutting down of protected trees in the Frankfurt city forest. While the protests and related lawsuits were unsuccessful in preventing the construction of the runway, the Stadtbahn West protests were one of the major crystallization points for the German environmental movement of the 1980s. The protests even continued after the runway had been opened in 1984, and in 1987 2 police officers were killed by a gunman. This incident ended the Stadtbahn West protests for good. Because of its orientation in the north-south direction, in contrast to the other 2 runways which run east-west, the use of the third runway is limited. The Stadtbahn West can only be used for takeoffs to the south because otherwise they would interfere with air traffic at the other runways. Due to this restriction the runway must be partially or fully closed when northward winds are too strong. Terminal 2 and the second train station. In 1990, work on a new terminal began because it was anticipated that Terminal MIT would reach its capacity limits sooner than expected. The new terminal, divided into concourses D and E, was built to the east of the existing terminal where once the Empfangsanlageost had been. With its opening in 1994, Frankfurt Airport increased its terminal capacity to 54 million passengers per year. Along with the terminal opening, a people mover system called CityLine was established to provide a fast connection between Terminal 2 and Terminal MIT. In 1999 a second train station, primarily for intercity express long-distance trains, opened near Terminal 1 as part of the new Cologne-Euro-Frankfurt high-speed rail line. At the same time, local and regional trains were centered at the existing underground train station, now renamed Frankfurt Airport Regional Station. Closure of the Rhein-Main Air Base. On December 30, 2005, the Rhein-Main Air Base in the southern part of the airport ground was closed and the U.S. Air Force moved to Ramstein Air Base. The property was handed back to Fraport, which allows the airport to use it to build a new passenger terminal. The property of the housing area for the soldiers, called Gateway Gardens, which was located northeast of the airport ground, was given back to the city of Frankfurt in the same year and will be developed as a business district in the following years. The Airbus A380 and the Square. From 2005 to 2007, a large Airbus A380 maintenance facility was built at Frankfurt Airport because Lufthansa wanted to station their future A380 aircraft fleet here. Due to economic reasons, only half of the facility has been built so far. Both terminals also underwent major renovations in order to handle the A380, including the installation of a third boarding bridge at several gates. Lufthansa's first Airbus A380 went into operation in June 2010 and was baptized Frankfurt am Main. In 2011, a large office building called the Square opened at Frankfurt Airport. It was built on top of the airport long-distance station and is considered the largest office building in Germany with 140,000 am2 floor area. Main tenants are KPMG and 2 Hilton hotels. The fourth runway. Plans to build a fourth runway at Frankfurt Airport had been underway since 1997, but due to the violent conflicts with the building of the third runway, Fraport let residents groups and environmentalists participate in the process to find an agreeable solution. In 2000, a task force presented their conclusion, which generally approved a new runway, but in shorter length, which would serve as a landing-only runway for smaller aircraft. Additional requirements included improved noise protection arrangements and a strict ban on night flights between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. across the whole airport. In 2001, Fraport applied for an approval to build a new runway, with 3 possible variants assessed. This concluded that a runway northwest of the airport ground would deliver the fewest adverse effects for local residents and the surrounding environment. The plans were approved by the Hessian government in December 2007, but the requested ban on night flights was lifted because it was argued that an international airport like Frankfurt would need night flights, especially for worldwide freight transport. Construction of the new 2,800 meters long runway northwest in the Kusterbach forest began in early 2009. The runway officially went into operation on October 20, 2011, with an aircraft carrying Chancellor Angela Merkel performing the first landing on October 21. The center line separation from the existing north runway is about 1,400 meters. This will allow for simultaneous instrument landing system operations on these 2 runways, which has not been possible on the existing parallel runways because they do not meet the 3,500-foot requirement for ILS operations. This will enable the airport to increase its capacity from the current 83 to 126 aircraft movements per hour. Ban on night flights. On October 11, 2011, the Hessian Administration Court ruled that night flights between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. are no longer allowed at Frankfurt Airport after the inauguration of the new runway, and therefore overrode the approval from the Hessian government from 2007, which allowed 17 scheduled flights per night. On April 4, 2012, the German Administrative Court confirmed the decision of the Hessian Administration Court, banning night flights between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., expansion of Terminal 1, to handle the predicted passenger amount of about 90 million in 2020, a new terminal section adjacent to Terminal 1 for an additional 6 million passengers opened on October 10, 2012. It is called Flugsteig Plus and exclusively used by Lufthansa mainly for their long-haul flights. Flugsteig Plus features 8 parking positions and is able to handle 4 Airbus A380 or 7 Boeing 747 at once. Facilities, terminals. Frankfurt Airport has 2 large main passenger terminals and a much smaller dedicated first-class terminal which is operated and exclusively used by Lufthansa. Unlike many other international airports, the terminal operations are grouped for airlines and airline alliances rather than inter-domestic or long-haul routes. Terminal 1. Terminal 1 is the older and larger one of the two passenger terminals. The landside is 420 meters long. It is divided into concourses A, B, C and Z and has a capacity of approximately 50 million passengers per year. Terminal 1 is functionally divided into three levels: the departures level on the upper floor with check-in counters, the arrivals level with baggage claim areas on the ground floor and, underneath, a distribution floor with access to the regional station and underground and multi-level parking. Departures and arrivals levels each have separate street approaches. A bus station is located at arrivals level. Terminal 1 has a total of 103 gates, which include 54 gates equipped with jetways. Pier A was extended by 500 meters in 2000, and a link between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, as well as the Hall C extension opened in 2008. On October 10, 2012, an 800-meter-long westward expansion of Terminal 1 called Pier A Plus went into operation. It provides more stands for wide-body aircraft like the Airbus A380. Terminal 1 is primarily used by Lufthansa, its associated companies and its Star Alliance partners. Terminal 2. Terminal 2, which has a capacity of 15 million passengers a year, was opened in 1994 and is divided into concourses D and E. A continuous concourse between Terminal 1C and 2D provides direct, but non-public access between the two terminals. It has 8 gates with jetways and 34 apron stands, a total of 42 gates, and is able to handle wide-body aircraft such as Korean Air's Airbus A380s. Terminal 2 is primarily used by airlines of the Oneworld and SkyTeam alliances. Passengers and visitors can change terminals with the People Mover system CityLine, which has stops at Terminal 1AZ, Terminal 1BC and Terminal 2DE. The travel time between the terminals is 2 minutes, with trains arriving every €3 minutes during the day. Additionally, there is regular bus service between the terminals. The future of Terminal 2 will operate also for Star Alliance Lufthansa for the next 2020. Lufthansa First Class Terminal. Lufthansa operates a separate first-class terminal near Terminal 1 with highly restricted access for use by first-class passengers of the Lufthansa Group only. Passengers flying on other Star Alliance partners in first class do not have access to the first-class terminal. The facility has 200 staff and is used by about 300 passengers daily. It provides individualized security screening and customs facilities, valet parking, a white linen restaurant, lounge and office areas, a cigar room and bubble baths. Passengers clear exit immigration controls in the terminal and then are driven from there directly to their aircraft by a chauffeured Mercedes-Benz S-Class, Mercedes-Benz Viano or Porsche Panamera. Runways. Frankfurt Airport has 4 runways, of which 3 are arranged parallel in east-west direction and 1 in north-south direction. In 2010, 3 runways handled 464,432 aircraft movements, which equated 83 movements per hour. With the start of operation of the runway northwest in October 2011, the airport should be able to handle 126 movements per hour. It is predicted that aircraft movements will increase up to 700,000 in the year 2020. By the use of the 4th runway, Frankfurt Airport is able for the first time to handle independent parallel landings because the distance between the north and the northwest runways is 1,400 am. This was not possible with the north and south runways because they do not meet the safety distance ordered by the International Civil Aviation Organization. During normal operation, the 2 outer parallel runways are used for landings and the central parallel runway and the runway west for takeoffs. The 3 parallel runways have 2 markings because they can be operated in 2 directions, while the runway west can only be used in 1 direction. Future expansions. Terminal 3. In 2009, the German government decided to create a new Terminal 3 for both Frankfurt Airport and Munich Airport, in order to handle the expected passenger flow of 90 million in Frankfurt by 2020 and 50 million in Munich by 2017. The new terminal is scheduled to be built by Fraport, south of the existing terminals at the ground of the former Rhein-Main Air Base. The new Terminal 3 should be able to house up to 25 million passengers and will feature 75 new aircraft positions. An extension of the People Mover system CityLine is planned to transport people to Terminal 1, the airport railway stations and Terminal 2. Passenger airlines and destinations: 107 airlines fly to 275 destinations in 111 countries from Frankfurt Airport, with approximately 1,365 flights per day. Lufthansa and their Star Alliance partners account for 77% of all passengers at Frankfurt Airport. 65% of all intercontinental flights in Germany are operated at Frankfurt Airport, followed by Munich Airport with 17%. Due to capacity constraints until autumn 2011 when the fourth runway went into operation, there are only few low-cost carriers operating at Frankfurt Airport. Those airlines use Frankfurt Hahn Airport as an alternative, which also provides lower operational costs. Despite its name, Frankfurt Hahn Airport lies about 120 km west of Frankfurt, closer to Koblenz and Mainz. Cargo: Frankfurt Airport is the second largest multimodal transport airport in Europe and has several logistics facilities. These facilities are grouped at two areas at the airport ground, in the north and in the south. In 2010 it was the second busiest airport by cargo traffic in Europe after Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, handling 2,231,348 metric tons of loaded and unloaded freight. Cargo City: Cargo City is the name of the two large main areas featuring most of the airport's freight handling facilities. The 98-hectare large Cargo City ZAR 1/4D is home to a cargo center for dispatch service providers and freight forwarding businesses. Several transport companies like DHL Global Forwarding, Air China, Emirates, Japan Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Korean Air and Fraport cargo services are based here. Cargo City Nord is the headquarters of Lufthansa Cargo. Additional facilities here are a perishable center for fresh produced goods and the Frankfurt Animal Lounge for the transport of living animals. Cargo airlines and destinations: other facilities, Airport City. The airport ground and the surrounding area of Frankfurt Airport offer a large variety of on-airport businesses as well as airport-related businesses, like office space, hotels, shopping areas, conference rooms and car parks. The development of an airport city has significantly increased in recent years. Frankfurt Airport Centers: the Frankfurt Airport Center 1 near Terminal 1 offers office and conference facilities. The newer FAC 2 is located within Terminal 2 and offers office space for airlines. Airport City Mall: the Airport City Mall is located on the land side of Terminal 1, Departure Hall B. It offers national and international retailers and label stores, a supermarket and several restaurants. The Square: the Square is an office building with a total floor area of 140,000 am2. It is directly connected to Terminal 1 through a connecting corridor for pedestrians. The accounting firm KPMG, Lufthansa and two Hilton hotels occupy space in the Square. Main Airport Center: the Main Airport Center, named after the Main River, is an office building with 10 floors and about 51,000 am2 of office space. It is located at the edge of the Frankfurt City Forest near Terminal 2. Sheraton Hotel and Conference Center: Sheraton Hotels and Resorts offers 1,008 guest rooms adjacent to Terminal 1 and a conference center for up to 200 delegates. Gateway Gardens: Gateway Gardens is a former housing area for the United States Air Force personnel based at the Rhein-Main Air Base, close to Terminal 2. Like the air base, the housing area was closed in 2005. Since then the area is being developed into a business location for airport-related companies. Lufthansa moved its airline catering subsidiary LSG Sky Chefs to Gateway Gardens. Condor and Sun Express are headquartered here. DB Schenker, the logistics company of Deutsche Bahn, is currently building a 66 am high-rise building. Further users: Fraport's facilities are on the property of Frankfurt Airport. Its head office building is by Gate 3. The newly constructed headquarters were inaugurated there in 2012. The Fraport Driving School is in Building 501 of Cargo City South. Lufthansa's main building, where the board of directors are seated, is called Lufthansa Aviation Center. Lufthansa operates the Lufthansa Aviation Center, Building 366 at Frankfurt Airport. Several company departments, including corporate communications, investor relations, and media relations, are based out of the LAC. Lufthansa also uses several other buildings in the area, like the Lufthansa Flight Training Center for flight training operations and the Lufthansa Basis Berg II as a central base and for crew briefing. As of 2011, Lufthansa Cargo is headquartered in Building 451 of the Frankfurt Airport area. As of 2012, Lufthansa Cargo is located at Gate 25 in the Cargo City Nord area, Lufthansa Technik is located at Gate 23 and in the Cargo City Saar 1/4 D area. Star Alliance, an airline alliance, is headquartered at the Frankfurt Airport Center 1 adjacent to Terminal 1. Airmail Center Frankfurt, a joint venture of Lufthansa Cargo, Fraport, and Deutsche Post for airmail transport, has its head office in Building 189, between Terminals 1 and 2. Trans-Euro Airlines has its European head office in Building 151. Ground transportation, Frankfurt Airport can easily be accessed by car, taxi, train or bus as it features an extensive transportation network. There are 2 railway stations at the airport, one for suburban regional trains and one for long-distance trains. Regional Station. Frankfurt Airport Regional Station at Terminal 1, Concourse B, provides access to the S-Bahn commuter rail lines S8 and S9 which depart every 15 minutes during the day to Hanau Central in the east via Frankfurt Central Station, Frankfurt Hauptweg Station and Offenbach East Station, and to Wiesbaden Central Station in the west via Ra 1/4 Selchum and either Mainz Central Station or Mainz Kastel. The journey time to Frankfurt Central Station is 11 minutes, to Hauptweg Station 15 minutes. Regional express trains to other destinations like Zabra 1/4 CKEN in the west, Koblenz in the Rhine Valley to the north, or Y 1/4 LZBURG in the east also call at the regional station. Long-distance station. Frankfurt Airport Long-Distance Station was opened in 1999. The station is squeezed in between the motorway A3 and the 4-lane Bundesstraße B43, linked to Terminal 1 by a connecting corridor for pedestrians that bridges the Autobahn. It is the endpoint of the newly built Cologne-Euro-Frankfurt high-speed rail line, which links southern Germany to the Rhine-Ruhr metropolitan area, the Netherlands and Belgium via Cologne at speeds up to 300 km/h. About 10 trains per hour depart in all directions. Deutsche Bahn operates the rail service in conjunction with Lufthansa, American Airlines and Emirates. The service operates to the central stations of Bonn, Cologne, Dar 1/4 Düsseldorf, Freiburg, Karlsruhe, Leipzig, Hamburg, Hanover, Mannheim, Munich, Nuremberg, Stuttgart and to Kassel-Wilhelmshöhe. Paragraph E. Car. Frankfurt Airport is located in the Frankfurt city forest and directly connected to an Autobahn intersection called Frankfurter Kreuz where the A3 and A5 meet. It takes a €10 15 minutes by car or taxi to get to Frankfurt Central Station or the center of the city. Passengers driving their own cars can park in multi-level parking garages along the terminals. A long-term holiday parking lot is located south of the runways and connected by shuttle bus to the terminals. Bus and coaches. Various transport companies provide bus services to the airport from the surrounding areas as well as by coach to long-distance destinations. Ground transportation statistics. In 2006, 29.5% of the 12,299,192 passengers whose air travel originated in Frankfurt came by private car, 27.9% came by rail, 20.4% by taxi, 11.1% parked their car at the airport for the duration of their trip, 5.3% came by bus, and 4.6% arrived with a rental car. Statistics. Passenger numbers. In 2011, Frankfurt Airport was the third busiest airport in Europe in terms of total passenger traffic, but it was second behind Paris Charles de Gaulle in terms of plane movements and cargo traffic. Route statistics, incidents and accidents. On May 22, 1983 during an air show at Rhein-Main Air Base, a Canadian RCAF Lockheed F-104 starfighter crashed into a nearby road, hitting a car and killing all passengers, a Vickers family of 5. The pilot was able to eject. On June 19, 1985, a bomb cloaked in a canvas bag was detonated approximately at 14:42 in the afternoon in Hall B of the Rhein-Main-Frankfurt Airport, leaving the section to look like a battlefield. The blast resulted in 3 deaths and 32 injuries, of which 4 were considered serious. In September 2007, German authorities arrested 3 suspected terrorists for plotting a massive terror attack, which posed an imminent threat to Frankfurt Airport and the U.S. Air Force Base in Ramstein. On March 2, 2011, a gunman opened fire on a bus carrying U.S. Air Force personnel at Frankfurt Airport, killing 2 and wounding 2 others. Trivia: with 71,500 people employed at about 500 companies, Frankfurt Airport is the single largest workplace in Germany as of 2010. See also: Transport in Germany, List of airports in Germany, Deutsche Zeppelin Reederei, Horst Julius Friedrich von Butler Brandenfels, Rhein-Main Air Base, Fraport, The Square. References. External links: media related to Frankfurt Airport at Wikimedia Commons, official website, current weather for EDDF at NOAA NWS, accident history for FRA at Aviation Safety Network.